Luca was very ill. He'd returned from England where he'd been in a coma for about a week, I think it was. So he was in Rome and he was very, very ill.
He was going through cold turkey in my apartment. He couldn't sleep, he couldn't eat, and he was just pacing up and down, and it was like a tiger in a cage, you know, because he wasn't taking methadone or anything, and he was trying not to go to Campo dei Fiori. And he asked me actually to lock him into the apartment so that he couldn't go out.
My sister took him along to a guy from Sardinia who's a healer. He used to heal goats up in the mountains, and then he came to Rome and he started healing famous football players and then politicians, and he became famous. But he was a very humble guy with a small place. Anyhow, my sister persuaded Luca to go to this healer, and Luca was, okay.
In the end, I managed to convince him to come with me, and he said, I'm coming, but I'm not putting anything on. And he was in his underpants with no shoes on, and it was cold, it was in the winter. And anyhow, he got into the car, and we drove there, it was quite close. And when we went up to this man, he told him to sit on a chair, and then he put a hand on his forehead like this, without touching his forehead, just like that. And he said, close your eyes, and Luca closed his eyes, and then after about 10 minutes, he removed his hand, and I could see this man was exhausted, you know, he was sweating and he was absolutely exhausted. And Luca had like a red burn on his forehead, was completely red and swollen. And so this Pino, he said, you can take him home now.
And at that moment in time, this photograph arrived from Cordoba, Argentina, from this place in the mountains, of Timmy McKern, his old school friend from Gordonston in Scotland, from boarding school, and his wife from Argentina, Ines, and a little girl. You know? And it said, you know, hey, we're thinking of you, you know, we're living in this beautiful place, you know, it would be so great if you could come.
So I called this Pino and I said, what should I do now? You know, what should I do with my brother now? And he said, pack his suitcase, get the passport and put him on that plane to Argentina. And he said, for 10 years, he's going to have a very, very good life. So I took him to the airport with his suitcase. Ciao, Luca, arrivederci.
They stuck Luca on the plane. Bye. And it was almost like, God, you know, we got rid of him because this guy is trouble.